Hello there, vinyl community and YouTube. Last video I did was when I put up my CD singles in the CD shelf, and after that video I got some really good response and some wishes to show more CD singles. One wish to show more CD singles come from Gertie, aka Poughkeepsie, and also my vinyl bar Jocko, and the vinyl potato Will was also very interested in CD singles. So I thought, why not combine that with doing another part of my series of celebration of different years in pop history that have been somewhat important to me. And that in turn is also a way for me to finally make peace with the year that for over 15 years, or should I say at least 10-15 years, were seen as maybe one of the worst years in pop history for me, but that I for the past 5 years have learned that this was actually a really good year. I'm talking about the year when Estonia sank, when Sweden voted whether or not we're going to join the European Union, and the year when Tom Hanks played Forrest Gump. I mean, of course, 1994. 1994 for me back then was horrible. It was filled with music that I did not like. Of course, I had some favorites back then, of course, among as anybody else. But overall, it was a horrible year, I thought, back then, because I did not like the Eurodisco that was popular. The Britpop with Oasis and Suede, I did not like one bit. I hated the grunge, and the newfound interest of punk rock was I didn't like either. So and those four were dominating on the hit charts. So I I felt a little left alone when it came to music, and me who preferred then to listen to soul music, jazz, and 80s pop music. However, I have not learned to love grunge or punk rock, unfortunately, but as everybody has seen, I have since long time ago learned to love Britpop and Eurodisco, and some other songs also that were some really that I didn't like that much back then, but that I really learned to like right now. So I felt it was time for me to once and for all make peace with the music year of 1994 and admit that it was actually a good musical year that had become very important to me, just because at the time I had one view of it, and now I have another, of exactly, in many cases, the same songs. And at the same time, I'm going to show a whole lot of CD singles. Not only, of course, but it will be most CDs. So let's start. CD singles. This is a song that I liked very much back then, but never became a huge hit here in Sweden. Sophie B Hawkins and Right Beside You. She is most famous for the song Damn I Wish I Was Your Lover 2 years earlier, but I think this one is her best song. Unfortunately, it was totally forgotten. Here is a huge favorite of mine today. I think this is a really awesome song. It's filled with such fantasy. It is so marvelous, well made, I'm talking about The Grid and Swamp Thing. Fantastic composition, a really fantastic song. You can see here also up in the corner a sticker that I used back then. It's a sticker with my name and where I lived back then. Call it childhood stupidity, or should I say teenage stupidity. I didn't know better back then, unfortunately. Here is my real favorite during the summer this year. I've shown this before. Crash Test Dummies with really, really awesome song. Some hate it, some love it, and I really love this song. It's a fantastic song with very weird and funny lyric. More movie music and more Tom Hanks. He played the main role in this movie, and the song was sung by none other than the boss, Bruce Springsteen. Streets of Philadelphia from the motion picture Philadelphia. Really relaxing song, maybe one of the best songs that Bruce Springsteen have done, and I really love Bruce Springsteen. Here is another song that I loved very, very much. It's a great year for ballads. There were very much great ballads this year, and one of the best ballads was Now and Forever by Richard Marx, a song that he wrote for his wife, Cynthia Rhodes, who was the singer in the group Animotion. Another of the greatest songs of the summer, Youth Endure and from Africa, and Nana Cherry, who is born in Sweden but has roots in USA. She's the daughter of Don Cherry, the trumpet player. This is 7 Seconds, a ballad that might be Nana Cherry's best song. It's a really, really relaxing and fantastic melody. Little specialty, a song that I feel I've been a little bit tired of. That I feel I liked it back then, but I feel that it hadn't passed the test of time really good. But it's really, really nostalgia from the 1994. Marcella Detroit with I Believe. Marcella Detroit, who was also a member of Shakespeare's Sister. Soul music had a fantastic year back in 1994. It was a very interesting year with 90s soul. Having a really proof of that coming when I'm going to show some full-length CDs. But here is another example, not from the USA, but from Great Britain. However, they sound very much American. I'm talking about Eternal with the song Just a Step from Heaven from their magnificent debut album Always and Forever. And more soul. This is Janet Jackson, and she had a lot of great songs this year, but I thought that the best song of her this year was Anytime, Anyplace. And now it says here in the back 1993, but in Sweden this one was released in 1994. And now we're coming to some songs that I didn't like all that much back then. And here it comes the part where I want to say I was wrong. These were great songs. 1994 were actually a good year. I hated Oasis back then, I said. Today I can probably say that I love songs like these. Supersonic. Whatever, both from their debut album Definitely Maybe. Fantastic album. I said also I didn't like Eurodance music back then, like Capella, Italian disco. This is the single You and Me. Really, really danceable, awesome production. Really, really fantastic song. Swedish E-Type, This Is The Way. Never liked it back then. It's a little bit worn out. I've listened to it a little too much. E-Type has done more interesting songs further on in history, but still, my mind is changed. This is a good song. This is Pharao from Germany, I think, with I Show You Secrets. Pharao was a Eurodisco band with a style that would remind us of the ancient Egypt. More Eurodance here. Magic Affair from Germany, Give Me All Your Love. I hated Magic Affair back then. And Ice MC, Think About the Way. Ice MC, who 1990 had a hit with a song called Easy that I like very much. But when he came with this song and rapped totally nonsense, I hated it. But today, it's a classic. It's a classic Eurodance track. So Eurodisco today of the 90s style is something that I listen to very often. And if you would telling me that 21 years ago, I would have shaken my head. Then, of course, as I said, I still don't like grunge. I said also before that it is one exception to that, the song that I actually do like. Soundgarden, Black Hole Sun. This is the only grunge song that I actually really like. And I also have this song on vinyl. And with that, I actually have some vinyl singles to show. I showed them before, last summer, but since we're talking about 1994, I think it is suitable to show some of them that are from 94 again. Some great hits. This is Luther Vandross and Mariah Carey with their version of Lionel Richie and Diana Ross, Endless Love. I'm not going to compare those. They are great both in totally different ways. Seal, Pray for the Dying. Really, really relaxing and great song where Seal's voice is at its best, I think. And a great comeback this year from Pretenders. I really love the album Last of the Independents, and the great singles I Stand By You and Night in My Veins. Night in My Veins especially, this is a fantastic, great guitar pops melody. So, CDs. And everybody at the vinyl community, it feels like, has shown Pink Floyd in one form or the other. Almost everybody. I'm not a fan of Pink Floyd. I think they're pretty boring, but they're one exception, and I have this album merely for this song. So here now finally I'm going to show a record by Pink Floyd, The Division Bell from 1994. And of course I'm talking about the single High Hopes, that in my opinion is maybe the best song that Pink Floyd has ever done. I think it's a really, really amazing song. Really relaxing and really, really awesome video also for it. Not the perfect sleeve here. I listened to it a lot since I bought it back in 1995. From 1994 comes Kylie Minogue's return album, the self-titled return album. This is a fantastic, great album. Almost always been a huge fan of Kylie, and I think this is a really, really relaxing dance, atmospheric and very, very dreamy dance album. So highly recommended, and I really loved the song Confide in Me when it was released in the autumn. A song that I listened to on my room back home over and over again. Here's another soul song that I mentioned that I thought in 1994 was so awesome. I still think is one of the best soul songs ever made. All for One, and of course I'm talking about I Swear, a marvelous love song, maybe one of the best love songs ever. This is their self-titled debut, actually a really, really good soul album. Maybe not as funky, but some really good ballads here. Do you remember which song that actually was the most sold one in USA that year? The one that had been the number one on Billboard the most times? It was actually a song from Sweden. Ace of Base with The Sign. This is their album US version. And I remember listening to American Top 40 because that's album chart was actually broadcasted in Sweden for a couple of years in the mid-90s with Shadow Stevens, and he presented the most selling singles for 1994, and I felt actually a little bit proud when when they had the jingle for the number one song, and all of a sudden Ace of Base with The Sign were played. Felt a little bit proud actually. And of course, we gotta have some Madonna, don't we? This is Bedtime Stories, who came out in 1994. Produced by some really, really awesome producers. We have the elite of producers here. We're having Nelly Hooper, who produced Soul to Soul, Babyface, Dallas Austin, Dave Jam Hall. We're having the soul elite here. And of course we're having fantastic songs, and 2 singles were released this year from this album, 1994, Secrets and Take a Bow. It's a really, really funky and groovy and great album. Fantastic. Madonna's maybe best soul-oriented album. And finally, an album that I really, really didn't like back then. Talking about an album that was promoted as a band who had been doing some lighter stuff before, who now became rockier, and everybody liked it when R.E.M. Released their rockiest album for a very long time in Monster. I really didn't like What's the Frequency, Kenneth, and thought that the rest of the singles on this album were pretty boring. And today I can proudly say that I've totally changed my mind, which I wouldn't have said back then. I think that What's the Frequency, Kenneth is a really, really great song by R.E.M. An album that is really, really good. So once again, a song that from 1994 an album from 1994 that I hated, that I've changed my mind. And as usual, I finished by showing the song that was the most selling in Sweden this year. The single that every Swede bought this year, and it was very close when I looked at the charts. But I think this one was named as the number one song in Sweden. and I'm happy for it because it is one of my absolute favorite songs ever. Mariah Carey, Without You. Maybe not the most perfect sleeve, but the single is really, really awesome. Then of course there are, as I said, still songs that I actually didn't like then, and that I still haven't changed my mind of. We're having Redneck's Cotton Eye Joe came this year. It was this other song that was close of being the #1 song. I'm glad it wasn't, because I don't have that single, and nor do I want it. So that this one I can show. Cranberries with Zombie. It's maybe one of the worst songs ever. I'm sorry every one of you who likes it, but I can't stand Dolores O'Riordan's moaning and yelling. Oh. Uh, Green Day, Basket Case. I'm sorry, I can't deal with that. Uh, having songs like that. Real to Real with I Like to Move It, Move It. Ugh, makes makes me freeze when I hear it. But overall, forgive me 1994. You were a great year. I admit it now, and I'm going to keep listening to the music of 1994. The next time I'm going to do a celebration of a year, I promise I will do one from the 80s. So then it will be overall vinyl singles instead, hopefully. Next time I will be back, I will do a response for Matthew Smith's contest. I know so much. Until the next time, I hope that you all have a great continuing of the week, and so long.